Hi, welcome back to Dungeon Dyslexia. I've got another interview today, and this is with Todd from Blackwell Games from the utterly fantastic Horde Wars Advanced. Spoilers if you've watched my review. Welcome.
Good to be here. Yeah, I've been wanting to talk with you again for a couple of weeks now, so I'm excited for this discussion.
It's the worst part of this international world that we have is the fact that I live too far away from everyone else. It's not all you lot are too far. It's my fault. Keep telling the wife we're gonna have to pack up and move to America, but then your country's so big, we'll end up in the wrong state anyway.
Well, we get around sometimes. Like I'm planning to be in Texas at the end of this month. In the beginning of next month, doing a convention there called North Texas RPG Con, running probably like, I don't know. I think I'm personally running 4 Horde Wars games, and I think our company's running like 9 or 10.
Yeah.
And then we're planning to be at Nova Open in Washington, D.C. on the East Coast, Labor Day weekend. So that's like September. And we're, again, running like 9 games, I think, in 3 days there.
Oh, fantastic! Because I'm doing a live game with you. Well, it'll have happened by the time this video goes out, so we're very much looking forward to that.
Same.
Which is all across on your Discord. So before I get into sort of my questions and talking about your amazing book, do you want to just sort of introduce yourself, say who you are, where you're from, etc.?
Sure. My name's Todd Ritzema. I am from Michigan in the United States. I am, as my last name indicates, of Frisian descent. So there are, I don't know, probably about 5 million native Frisian speakers still in the world. There aren't that many of us. But my grandparents are great.
Do you want to elaborate on what a Frisian is? Because in this country, it's a type of cow.
Yeah, well, there's a reason for that, though. So Frisians are a people group, a Germanic tribe that lived basically in the modern era in the northern Netherlands up to the Jutland Peninsula, up at the edge of Denmark, along the coast there, mostly in the swamps. And they also participated in the invasion of what became known as England, with the Angles, the Saxons, the Jutes. And in fact, Kent County, England spoke Frisian pretty much as its only language for over 300 years.
Amazing. What was that, 1066, or was that before?
No, before.
Before that, yeah. Because this is the funny thing when we get blamed for colonizing the world. We've been colonized several times before. So it's all the people that came here first. It's their fault. It's not our fault. No, that's really cool.
Yeah, so that hopefully that answers that question. And then the as far as the gaming end, I have been doing game design for a while, but I haven't done many commercial products. I've consulted on a number. One, Titans of Fallen Earth is due out soon. Horde Wars Basic and Horde Wars Advanced, which Nate and I released from Blackwell Games, are both out. I've also written a free-to-play war game and some other materials. But I've been playing RPGs for probably 25 years or so. And yeah, I enjoy the hobby. I also enjoy war games.
Okay. What's your favorite war game? Let's just go off.
Oh, well, this is going to be a throwback because it doesn't really exist anymore. I actually, and this will be probably controversial, I actually liked Mage Knight. That was
the game before Mage Knight became the board game, wasn't it? It was the click minis, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't like the superhero version. I did like their fantasy war game.
Yeah.
Because it introduced really all the basic wargaming rules, and it condensed a lot of the kind of paperwork you might have to do for a normal war game in the base, which was really nice.
Cool. Because did that then become HeroClix? If
it did, did. I don't like HeroClix actually.
Yeah. That's what made me think. Because I was never sure whether they were set. Because I never saw Mage Knight. I've played the board game of it. Which obviously I think the only thing that's similar is the minis, isn't it? Pretty much.
Yeah.
But then the minis haven't got the click base, but we did play a fair bit of HeroClix and stuff. Mm-hmm. But they were very fragile. Very fragile.
They weren't at the time anyway. I still have miniatures either that I collected or I've acquired from other people from more than 20 years ago that are still holding up well. Yeah. Like the shield golem I bring around to conventions is one of theirs.
Oh, cool.
as well as a number of goblins and a few other things. I've rebased them, of course, because their bases are terrible for any other game.
Yes. So before we start talking about Horde Wars, which is the main thing I want to talk to you about, what was your sort of earliest experience of gaming? Can you sort of remember your first game or two?
Now you mean RPGs or like
yes,
in general?
yeah. Sorry.
Oh, some guys in high school, probably when I was in maybe 9th grade, 10th grade, something like that, invited me to come and play second edition D&D with them. And so that was really fun. It was nonsensical because it was being run by a high schooler with a random generator. So there was stuff like a black dragon in a room with no entrances to get in the room. Like the room had doors, but he couldn't fit through those doors. It was just like, well, he's there, I guess.
Yeah, I think I've read and played in plenty of modules like that over the years. Anyway, there's lots of things like that that go on in the hobby. So, which D&D was it? Which world? Do you remember?
I don't think it was generic setting. Whatever. Yeah, there was no specific setting. Because we were basically just in dungeons or maybe in town. I think my first character was a dwarf and half plate, maybe. Yeah, and couldn't hurt that dragon at all. So I got creative and like for some reason there were tapestries in that room, and I lit them on fire and like threw them at him because he wasn't a fire dragon; it was like an acid-based dragon. I was like, well, this might hurt him a little. Or at least be annoying.
And did you all die? Can you remember?
Yeah, I think we managed to like stun it or something. We got with the sorcerer summoned a Zorn, I think it was.
Yeah.
Starts with an X. And the Zorn actually really helped. I think ultimately 2 or 3 of the characters died in that encounter. But we either won or got away, the rest of us. My character died. I died in the very first session.
but see, this is the bit that I think that we all, well, newer players don't understand, and especially if they've played a lot of fifth edition. I haven't looked at 2024 version of. Well, I've read the first book, but 5th edition sort of created this thing where no one seems to run away because the encounters are meant to be balanced. I know the CR system is broken. But I can remember playing for years that, as a general rule, if one player started going down, you then know that the rest of you are in trouble, and it's just a case of running faster than your friends, because then you think, oh, well, we'll just go and find not a necromancer. We'll go and find a high-powered cleric to bring your player back to life again. That just seems to be how we used to run stuff back then. But no one plays it that way after. I think after
Horde Wars does. In fact, yeah. That's because that's the way Nate and I enjoy playing. And also we did some stuff in there that we think is generally valuable in the hobby, that even if you just took those bits and pieces from our game and ported them over to another game, you should do. One of which we talked, I think, a little bit about before, just in passing, about when the players are doing something you don't expect, you don't have a plot ready, they're off doing something, to actually procedurally generate it in front of them and have them participate with the dice rolls. We talk about that in our game master section. That works really well. I wish I'd have thought of that 20 years ago. That would have made running games both easier and more engaging for the players. Yeah. And other stuff like that, death should be on the table. It should be possible for your character to die, because if there's no chance of defeat or destruction, there's no heroism. You can't play a hero if there is no risk.
Yeah. And I generally think you need people to die to actually appreciate that, or at least to get so close. Because we were playing this at the weekend, and my friends, we all, I was like, twice a year we sort of get together face to face, and we sort of, because we all live separately now. Different parts of the country, which for you is going to go, well, that's not, it's only 60 miles away. It's not that far, because you lot will drive 5 miles for a 2-hour gaming session,
Oh, yeah.
Walk through like snow up to your neck. But down in this country, we don't do that. So we get together, and there's the biggest problem I have in my group is everyone wants to run games bar one person. So we don't get to do things. And this year I was like, right, I'm running this is what I'm playing. I sent the first few pages to my friends. The great thing about it is you've got, I think it's 12 pages of rules. So I just
Yeah.
cut a chunk of the PDF and the character creation to the skills, cut that down, sent it to them, and go, right, we're going to do characters together, but have a look through, because my players don't work very well. We don't do pre-gens. We like to create our characters even for one shots.
Oh, I think you should if you have the time and willingness.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
At a convention, different story, because you've got a bunch of random people who may or may not have been busy before. It's good to have pre-cons, but if you're willing to take the time, yeah, you should make characters.
Yeah.
Now that said, for you mentioned something in your last video about your friends, and if they want to order hardcovers, and there's like a weekend they want to do that, I've got 4 days still on our current sale, which is $10 off the hardcover.
Okay.
As well as soft covers. Now that'll be done by the time this video comes out.
Yeah.
But we probably will do another one around Father's Day.
Okay. I'll let them know, because I said that in my video. This was, and especially one of the group, one of the group, he knows who he is. He doesn't buy books at all. And then they were both, ooh, because you can tell people love a game if they start shopping for it during the session.
Yeah.
You know, and especially then go, so where exactly did you pick this up from? But before we do the whole of Horde Wars Advance, because obviously you had the product beforehand, which was Horde Wars, which I'd never, well, I actually, until Blackwell Games did the video on this, I'd never heard of Horde Wars or Horde Wars Advance. But there's a section in the book that talks about the differences between, so it's technically the upgrade, isn't it? I think it is.
Right. Because Horde Wars Basic was just the first 4 levels of play. It was basically our starter set.
Yeah.
And so we have a little paragraph noting most of the major changes if you had existing characters. And just to give you an idea, we had a player who had like 50 characters he'd made, and to some extent was playing each of them. And when he went through and had to do an update, when he got advanced, he only had to update 3 of his characters. There's not sweeping changes, but there's a few things that we did based on customer feedback or stuff that we kind of already had in the works. But mostly advanced isn't adjusting the rules at all. The bulk of it is, here's a bunch of new material. We basically got a book that's got double the content, and goes from levels 1 to 12, and has, I think it's over 200 beast monster and NPC stat blocks, over 120 unique artifacts, 21 careers still, but it adds 47 capstones, I think, for a higher level advancement and this kind of stuff. So, and whole chapters on like the setting, nautical adventures, running your own domain, that kind of stuff. But if you just want to do low-level dungeon delves, Basic's fine. That's all you would need for that.
Okay, so the plan is to keep selling Basic as well as Advanced, because to me, I'd just get rid of that and then just sell Advanced, because that's the better one.
Sure. Well, the thing is, Basic still sells well enough that it pretty much, even with no advertising, it's selling well enough. It basically pays for our website and some other stuff.
Oh, that's good.
So it's worth having for that. Also, it's very cheap. It's a very low point of entry. Depending on if there's a sale, you can get, in that case, a 180-page rule book with art for $5 to $7 as a PDF. Like, it's a very low entry point to give it a try. And if you like it, then buying Advanced is good. If you're convinced by this video or others, or your friends, that you want to play Horde Wars, I would definitely encourage you to just buy Advanced. You don't need Basic. But for customers who are hesitant or are just kind of curious, that Basic seems to work well for them.
Yeah, I think that is the wonder, though, of this YouTube medium now, is the fact that you can go onto my video or Black Lodge Games library video. I think Foxoff has done one as well, RPG. So we got 3. Yep. So, if you don't like my style, or because the one thing about reviewers you have to be, I'm always mindful of, if I don't like a lot of games in their top 10, there's no real point of me watching their review, because they don't like the sort of games I like, if that makes sense. So they can sit there and go on about the wonders of the game. I love this, and I knew all my players would love it. And we had an absolute blast to the extent that, I'm playing an awful lot of Shadow Dark at this moment in time. And we've got to get back to the enemy within campaign that I'm part of the way through. And the conversation was, well, should we just sort of end this, finish off Talislanta? This is how old we are. We like to play old school, brutal sort of fighting games, and then move to Horde Wars. So that looks like where we're going to go. And this is the problem with this hobby, is that there's always something new, sometimes better, a lot of the times not, if that makes sense. But you still want to go and try it. So my first question I've got about this, why a D12?
Oh, yeah. So 2 reasons. The first is we felt that it was not used enough, actually. We felt it was unloved. And my co-author is a mathematician and physics professor. So I think the dice size appealed to him in that way as well. But also, it let us do things you can't do with other dice, at least not do well. One of which is make the game more exciting via math. Specifically, if you're rolling a D12 compared to a D20, and the maximum roll is still a critical hit, you almost double the odds of getting a crit just by changing the dice. That does make for a more exciting game all on its own. And we leaned into that. Also, because of something with human psychology, I don't know what it is, but you can see it at the game table. In something like Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder, the players will not plan to get critical hits. They won't adjust their tactics on the assumption they might get a crit.
Yeah.
In Horde Wars, they will. That difference in percent is enough that mentally it feels like, oh, it could happen, so I should plan as if it might happen. And that's been really cool to see. The other reason, though, is it lets us embed, the other part of that is it lets us embed penalties in the dice rather than doing a bunch of subtraction. Subtraction is easy, but it's not fast. So if, say, your character is exhausted or cursed, instead of rolling a D12, you just roll a D10. Or if you've got a couple levels of, we call that affliction, maybe you roll a D8. Now, this means you can't crit because you can't roll a natural 12. But you could still succeed. Like if the enemy has, say, 6 or 8 defense and you're rolling a 10-sided die and adding 2, yeah, you could hit that. You could still meaningfully contribute to a fight, but you feel weaker, and the weakness kind of builds up as you get more levels of affliction. Now, many characters in most fights won't get affliction because it's mostly from things like starvation, dehydration, or like actual curses. But there are occasionally monsters that can give it to you. Vampires are one, and that makes them feel much more terrifying.
It's that I got that from the vampires because it's at the old school. Because I still remember, and you probably will do, that up until I even think 3rd edition, vampires used to take levels off player characters. Yeah. They didn't just used to damage and take hit points off. You actually lost levels, which meant you lost hit points, you lost abilities, you lost skills, you lost
level drain,
features. It was the funniest thing ever, though, as a games master and a player when it happened to other people around the table.
Yeah,
never you. But the D12 was the first thing that, as soon as Fraser started talking, well, it's actually Matt, isn't it? About it's a D12 system. I was like, I got this because that's my favorite die. It just is. You don't get to use it a lot, No. There are definitely no games where you get to roll multiples of them, other than I can't think. Well, there's that Native American one. It's just down here. I'll remember in a second. And that uses pools of them. So it's like the World of Darkness where you got pools of D10s, but it's with D12s. And I was like, okay, I'm in for this. And then, like you say, that you're going to crit more often. Because everything else in the game, obviously, you can roll 2 dice with advantage, which was good. If you got a bonus or help, you get to add to the dice.
Right. So you don't. So the advantage mechanic from like 5th edition D&D, we don't have in there with an exception, which is because normally you'd get a circumstance bonus. It'd be like a +2.
Yeah, the +2. Yeah.
But the exception is blessed weapons. You actually roll twice and take the higher result.
Yeah.
And if you're blinded, you actually roll twice and take the lower result.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got that because in the opening adventure that we run, everyone had dark vision apart from the human.
Mhm.
So you get to a cave, and in the end, I just made it completely lit up because the goblins couldn't see in dark. Because it was a one shot, and I just wanted to sort of speed things up
Mhm.
than make it complicated. And I was like, okay, good blindness mechanic, rolling 2D20. I nearly said 2D20 then. Um, but it plays really fast as well because you haven't got any of the complicated parts that you get with other systems. So
Mhm.
everything you got, you're getting help. You just add some dice. Sorry, add a static. Normally two, I think we found
Two
when
for
we're
low level
helping. I'm going to
characters.
help, and then if you're having negatives, you're either rolling two, picking the worst, or nobody has had that affliction and dropping down. Um, the
Yeah,
character
some of the
creation,
goblins do have that flay ability where they can give you affliction if they damage you.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. That they didn't get that, and we got to the end of the bit, and I was just waiting with the king, and the king's got this. Am I allowed to spoil this?
oh yeah,
No, no. Okay, okay. So the king's got one power that, and I can't think what it's called, and he can summon in more people to the fight. So they were
yes.
all getting all smug and sort of getting in to try and attack the king, and I was like, and the archer was just at the back doing the annoying archery thing. I'm not getting involved. Next thing, four goblins around him, and the other person that's at the back, and they were like, and that is well, it's not the beauty of the game. There's lots of beauty to this. But the one thing I felt when I was reading the monster stats, I'm going to share some of them as I talk about this,
Mhm.
is that what you've done, that's the wrong thing. What you've done is you've actually created a mini game for the players. So if you think about things like this, well, this is how it is for me. So you think about things like Final Fantasy and those sort of games, and that horrific one that you die all the time in, the really dark one. I can't
Oh, Dark Souls.
Dark Soul, right? This very much feels like that with every single creature, because every creature they're going to fight, well, not everyone, will have an element of protection, which means half damage. They're going to have an element of immunity, which means they take no damage. They're also going to have a variety of traits that they're going to react to when the players do something. They're also going
Mhm.
to have these maneuvers, which again is like a reaction. So every creature is like a puzzle that the players have to work out how to kill. They'll
Yeah.
have multiple damage types as well, so they can do a bunch load of attacks and go, that doesn't work. Right, I'm now going to switch to poison attacks off my arrows. I think it wasn't poison that he had, but it was
Toxic. Yeah.
toxic. That's what he had in the arrows. So it was like they've wasted a whole turn. Now let's try something else. And then you throw a different creature at them, and then you've got to learn the process again. But
Yeah.
amazingly, what you've done is not make these stat blocks obnoxious, because I've been running Pathfinder and I will never run Pathfinder ever again, because your stat blocks are a similar length when you look at some of these creatures. You know, this is
Yes.
quite wordy here. So, the Rot Fiend, for example, but it's really clear what they can do, and it's nice and simple. Because also there's not lots of filler text. And I'm sorry about this, I'm picking on Pathfinder. I'm not saying it's a bad game. Pathfinder for me is a university game. It's something you play with your mates at university, and you just play that game forever. Um,
Oh, sure.
but I say it's absolutely wonderful. And like you say, there's was it over 200 monsters and creatures in here? It just
Oh yeah.
goes on. And my favourites, because I always look for werewolves in any games, and you've done this with all the monsters as well, where you've got well, especially with the werewolves, you've got three levels of monsters. Um,
Yeah, three kinds. Now, werewolves are unique in that we actually have a gender divide at the low and low level. So the Barghest and the Silverback, are based on if it's a male or a female who became a werewolf.
ooh, okay.
And so the Barghests are female werewolves, and the Silverbacks are male.
In
And
this section here, I'm just looking at that now. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, cool.
and so there are differences in how they fight and in their traits. And then the alpha is really a werewolf that has lived so long that he's kind of picked up the best of both, and some additional abilities. And he's lost the ability to turn back into a person.
Nice.
He's trapped.
Yeah.
Whereas the others do turn back.
And he also shares the same ability as the half orc, which
no, theirs is better. Theirs is better.
Well,
so the half orc, or not the half orc, the orc. We don't have a half orc.
The orc. Oh,
the
yeah.
Orc,
Sorry.
the orc has the ability to, if a minute has gone by where he hasn't taken damage, he regains his full hit points.
Yes.
So the orc refreshes basically between fights without any problems. Yeah. His health. Werewolves are much worse. They do it every round. If you haven't damaged them with the right kind of weapon or damage type, they will get full health back every single round of play. Trolls do the same thing. Unless you've hit them with the right damage type, they will just keep getting full health. So you either have to kill them in 5 seconds flat, or you need to use that right damage type, or you're going to be in real trouble.
Yeah, which I'm not going to spoil. We're not going to tell you what it is, but there's 9 different damage types as well, isn't there? It's quite vast. So one of the questions, I think we'd worked it out when we were playing, because you've got the different damage types, and so if you've got a silver sword, and then a silver sword will standard do piercing damage.
Yep.
And you then slashing damage, sorry, and you then turn it into a, let's say, poisonous sword.
Yeah.
It still does the silver damage as well, doesn't it?
It's still silver. Yep.
Yeah. That's good. That's exactly how we played it. But we did have that initial debate around the table, and I was like, no, because you're not going to lose the trait or what it's made out of. So we did make the right. So the one I say grumble. I said in my video that there was a couple of things, and you were like, okay, let's see what these are. Is it to do with chapter 1? It is to do with chapter 1, and it's to do with is the initiative. So and we just didn't play your way of running the initiative, because we're just used to the slow version of everyone rolls initiative and we just break it round, because your rules is written.
Now you can do that, but you should try the opposite. And there are reasons for it. One of which is if you get to higher level play, there are items that mess with the initiative order.
Right.
And so having that order down is important, but also if you want the game to flow the way it's meant to, doing what we wrote, you will find to play faster at the table, as you even alluded to. You're like, we're used to the slower way, so you know.
I know. As soon as I said that, I was like, I'm gonna get shot for this, aren't I? I'm just gonna get. There's a pile of coal. This is me getting dragged over it.
But also, you're gonna get the exact same outcomes over time.
Yes,
because which we found in playtesting. We playtested a few different initiative systems. This game was, if it's not clear for anyone listening, this game was heavily playtested. We spent half a decade in development. We had over 100 playtesters, and by the time Advanced came out, we had over 200. So this has been playtested quite thoroughly, and I'll put it this way. It's definitely been play tested more than Wizards of the Coast does. I can tell you with certainty based on the products they put out.
Yeah, I had to put my hand in my fist then, just in case I said something really, really bad.
But really though, this is good. The initiative system is good in terms of game flow and in terms of variance. Now, if you want to try playing with it for a couple sessions, and then invite a friend to play a villain and have them sit amongst the other players.
Right.
Do that, and if you do this in person, now online this will also do stuff, but the first time I did that in person, I watched as the players rearranged their seating.
That was what people said.
They understood the rule and wanted to manipulate it.
Yeah.
But the reason for the rule, though, isn't that. That's just something fun you can do. The reason for the rule is actually because of gameplay speed. Everyone knows who's next. There's no question. Which means you have less lag time, not only in preparing the turn order in general, figuring out who got what initiative, but also less lag time in that players aren't like distracted, not realizing when their turn's coming up. they know. Like if the person next to them is acting, they know they're next.
Yeah.
And that really helps push combat along, and that's one of the things that lets you very efficiently fight large numbers of opponents in our game system, as well as some of the combat rules. So I would encourage you to do that, because what you'll do is save probably 5 to 10 minutes every combat.
It's interesting you say that, because on the evening, we're play testing a game with Chubby. His latest Shadow Dark game, and we're running the combat Shadow Dark way completely, and we're just going round, and every round it's going round, and everyone's going, this works well, doesn't it? And I was thinking, you wanted to change the initiative rules, and I'm thinking, like you say, that as a games master, it's like, so you got 15, 14, another 15, and you're constantly sort of writing out the names, and like you say, you do. And because Horde Wars Advanced is just a bam game, as in bam, bam, combat, fight, move, fluid, go on to the next encounter, deal, and it sort of encourages that sort of play. So yeah, no, well, obviously I'll have played it by now by the time this goes out. The correct way, as opposed to our ignorant UK way. This is how we have always done it, because we don't have issues when you do things like Savage Worlds and Dragonbane, where you're drawing a random card to get initiative. We don't mind that. But for some reason, my group fell apart with the thought of one person rolling. No, it's not what. Sorry, you just go from the fastest initiative round, don't you?
Let me walk you through it just one more time for anyone listening, if you were wondering what we're talking about. So I'll
get it up as well.
So. Is everyone around the table, all the players and the game master, are rolling a 12-sided die. All the players are adding their reflexes bonus from their character, if any. The game master is adding the highest reflex bonus among their opponents to his roll. And then high roll goes first, whoever the high roll is. Yeah. If there's a tie, players win ties against the game master. If the players if two players are tie for a high point, they can fight among themselves for who goes first. But that's basically what's happening. And then from that first person, you simply go around the table in seating order. Or if you were online, you would just use, for example, the list of players down from the game master as the seating order, where the person at the bottom is effectively seated to the game master's right, and everyone else is left and around. Would be the way to do that. And yeah, that runs quickly.
So Todd right, Adrian wrong.
Well, you can certainly try it for yourself and see. But you indicated that you kind of knew it was quicker in your own statement.
Oh, so. Definitely. It's just, again, it's just years of habit, isn't it? You're used to doing something a certain way, and you think it works. But like I say, if there are creatures that it's deliberately set up to run that way, and it's obviously, especially the other thing that the players worked out very quickly is there are certain abilities that allow players to take no damage for the first time they hit, but also the monsters have the same ability as well. So you've got to try and game the game in that way, where you've got to go, we've got to get some damage on here, because Johnny needs to go next to do his big damage, and if we all miss, by the time he gets to do it, because one of the guys, I think he was the Crusader and something, so he was rolling 2 dice worth of damage.
Yeah.
Because he picked a silver weapon, and nearly everything we were fighting, there were monsters. And everyone was like, okay, right, going forward, we need to now pay attention, because I think the archer only had possibly only had a D8 for damage. And like I say, once your crits come in, it does sort of explode a fair bit.
I think the archer probably had, unless it was the assassin, the archer probably had 3 attacks.
Yes.
With like a D10 or something.
Yeah.
And then the players can all very quickly, even before the first session, but certainly after, can all get special material weapons, in the sense that they're not they're expensive, but they're not like insanely more expensive. They're like 10 times the base price. So if you could buy a sword for 25 marks or 25 silver pieces, you could buy a silver sword for 25 crowns or 25 gold pieces. And so once you've completed an adventure or two, it's likely that your characters will have enough wealth to all have those kinds of weapons.
Yeah. They also worked out that because if you can wear rings, you can do damage off your rings.
You can. The signet rings.
Signet rings. Harder. So the orc was like, well, if I buy a ring of each type for each of my fingers,
yep,
I'm gaming the game. And we're like, yeah. It looks Todd's agreeing with you. So Matt, if you're watching this, yes. So when we go into the campaign, you can play that. But getting into the careers, there are how many careers are there in this?
21.
21.
21. And we did make a choice that's worth mentioning to your audience. So we had a certain amount of money we could afford to spend on art, and so we spent it on the monsters, on the theory that you already know what people look like.
Right, yeah.
We do have artwork throughout the bulk of the book. We have over 200 pieces of unique artwork. We do have artwork of each of the species, but we chose, because it would have cost like an extra $2,000, we chose not to put in extra artwork for every single career.
See, I didn't even notice it going through.
But it's worth mentioning because that's like the main. If you don't see the rest of the book, if you only look at the careers, you're like, "Where's all the art?" Oh, there's a bunch. Yeah. It's not there.
Yeah. So there's lots in here, especially when you get into the monsters and there's beasts and monsters which are nicely separated, and then a load of humans that you're gonna have to go and murder hobo anyway, because why wouldn't you want to take vengeance on the dwarfs for whatever they did? It's all right. In a Talos Lanta game, we took it was a gnome king. The king annoyed us, and so let's say most of the adventure became about wiping out a whole race.
Been there.
We've all been there. But even stuff like it's the tavern wench, isn't it? Because people, why would you want to play a tavern wench? And then you go, evasion. So you can automatically miss. You've got this gaze. So all the characters have got 2 or 3 powers that they can pretty much do consistently. Obviously, it might be down as a maneuver. And then you get into the capstones, which once you get to 12th level, you can have 3.
So you'd get a capstone at character level 5 and character level 9.
Oh, is it only 2? Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You get 2, and you have 5 to pick from.
Yeah,
2 from each career, 1 from
each race. Yeah, from the species. So, any plans to do any more species and careers going forward with this?
As you play, I think you'll find that we have embedded 4 other species in the book.
Right. Okay.
This was deliberate. We organized it and put it in the Game Master section on purpose, so that players aren't overwhelmed with choice, because actually normal humans can remember about 5 things in a given category. And then they just aren't going to remember it, at least not quickly. And so when we did basic, we had the 5 core species, which we included in advanced. And then we provide you with 4 variants in the back of the book in the NPC section that the Game Master can choose to introduce, and the players can use with Game Master permission.
I must have missed those, and I'm not going to spoil it, so I'm not going to show what they are in the book. That you're going to have to go and buy it to find out.
Those are there. Yeah. But also, we have experimented with probably another half dozen or so playable species. That said, unless we have a certain amount of active game masters, I think offhand it would have to be about 1,000 active game masters, not just 1,000 books sold. 1,000 people who are actively running Horde Wars. That is about the point where making supplements becomes fiscally responsible. Now we have already offered a free unofficial supplement, including Skyship rules, which is up on our website. You can download it for free. We also emailed it to all of our customers when it came out. At least all the ones who chose to share contact info with us. Right there.
Oh, I didn't.
And
I
so,
didn't scroll down that far, so I
yeah,
will be
and so
getting
that's
that
just a
later.
little 2-page supplement, maybe 3 pages, and it includes stat blocks for flying ships, and
Ooh.
includes the rules for using them, and so on. And so that's the kind of thing you can bring into your game. And we have a bunch of material that we could release in the same manner, but we'd like to do like a module at some point. However, we are going to stay away from offering things that involve player-facing abilities, by which I mean there won't be a new career to play, or that sort of thing. Because if we do that, we're really just trying to farm the customer for money, and that is not something that we want to do. That's the Wizards of the Coast and Paizo model of buy the new thing and you can get this cool new class or this cool new path that you can take or whatever it might be. We don't want to do that. If we do supplemental products, it will be modules, additional adventure locations, cool new treasure, cool new monsters to fight, but the player stuff is all in the base book. That you don't need the other books. That's just extra material if you want it.
Yeah, but that's what you get with, let's say five classes and 4 hidden ones. But also
the species. Yeah.
The species, sorry.
Yeah.
I think as a role-playing community, we need to just establish we're either going to have classes or careers, species or race, and every game should have to have the same. If I'm president of the world, that's the first thing I'm making mandatory. Because I can't
You know why
cope.
we picked that, though? We picked species because we mean something specific. We
Yeah.
mean that they can't reproduce with each other.
Yeah. No, it's not me, especially because the amount of books I'm reading now quite regularly blur, like rules will blur and rule. It's like I was saying about, I thought you had advantage in this. I know there's no advantage in this because we never played it with it. But in my head, I was like, did we? But some of the other games that we played over the weekend, but with the 21, with the 21 careers or occupations, because players are picking 2, it just allows for absolutely insanely broken combat-y god type characters, which is exactly how it feels like this game's been intended to be.
Yeah, except that you have a glorious 18 hit points, and the enemies are often doing 2d10 damage a hit.
Yes. Which they worked out quite quickly because I think it was it the Blade Master? There was one of the ones that Paul was playing where he shook off one at the first damage, and the second damage he shook off with his shield. And then Andy had something that he could dodge. The orc was I want to say he was a warlord.
Yep.
So he could rally and get people to do something else on his bonus maneuver. One thing nobody played, sadly, was any of the wizard classes. But Rob, who is the most hated wizard person ever, has gone, in this campaign, do you know what? I think I'm going to go double wizard because it looks nice and simple. And we're all like, I know we've got him in because if he's willing to give the wizard go, he did play the acolyte. So he was the archer acolyte.
Okay, so he played a little bit with some magic.
Little bit of magic, and he really enjoyed the thorn lash.
Yeah.
Once he'd sort of, because initially he was just using his bow, and then he's like, actually, I can attack and damage everything here, and like I say, the chance of getting crits off the supernatural casting was just absolutely brilliant. But what I want to do then, right, we've talked about characters and character creation, but we've got a little bit about nautical adventures, but that's it's interesting, but not as good as let's just get through all the thousands of creatures and monsters that are in here. And we got to the end of the adventure, and my players, and they got to roll on the random table because they all got a reward for doing well and not dying. So they then got to roll on the random loot generator. I think it might have been the moderate one. I can't remember. So they get, and you've done this wonderfully. They get to roll a d20. So I was like, okay, you all roll your d20s.
Yeah.
And then the loot table doesn't tell you what loot they've got. It then throws them onto another table to go, here we go. It's like, you found 2 treasure chests. Ooh. How do I make treasure chests? So you'll then go on to the treasure chest table, which
back. You went past it. There you go.
There we go. And you're using
one more.
Back one.
Back one. Go back to the first. There you go. It's on the same facing page.
Facing page, and you're curating everything which is in that treasure chest, and then things like you've got stuff like random, so they can find blankets and like wall thing, but because everything's got value, it's like a marble chess set, and because they're rolling it themselves. Oh, they also had a bit where they could have had a scroll or a magical rod as well. So the scrolls are one off.
This way in the book.
Here we go. Yeah.
There. Yep.
Yeah. So and scrolls are one-off use, and rods they can use. I think it was a number of times a day they worked out.
Yeah, they're right there on the page.
Yeah. It's right. I'm trying to make it quick without reading too much. And then you got this
twice a day.
Yeah, wonderful magic section with magic armors and everything else like that. And then you think, okay, is that enough of a game? And then you go, okay, what we got coming up? We've then got a one shot, which I'm going to skip on because I don't really like spoiling stuff. So you do your one shot in there. So that's enough. That is enough to just go with for any player, for any games master when you buy a book. But then you go, do you know what? You need a bit more than a one shot. Here's an area of land with a town that you're all going to live in. And then all these plot places with some of them have got actual quests to go there. And some of them have just
all of them do. If you keep going.
Yeah. But and then they've got descriptors in here with an idea of what's coming in there and stuff. It's absolutely amazing. And then, if that wasn't enough, obviously rules about building mega dungeons. You go, well, actually, the world, it's like looking at Google Maps. You can sort of go, here you go, here's your little bit. And then you can scroll back out. And then you go, here you go, here's a chunk load more. And then each area's got a 2-page spread with the shield. Actually, one of the areas has got 3 pages. I thought it was a misprint until I reread it. And it just explains who's in charge, the culture there, honours, things about the city, important people, some quests, some events that go on all the way through. And I was like, I don't even know brain-wise how you managed to get all of this into 300 pages. But like you say,
this chapter took the longest because it actually took a lot of time, not for so much for the quests, but to design each of the unique NPCs with their unique descriptions and agendas and make them take the right amount of space. Just like 3 lines or 2 lines, and giving you, like, if you want to, if you want to, or I can pull one up and read one. We're trying to show you how to design a world while also giving you one that's good to play in. But for example, Bishop Adamar of Rouen, he is in Franconia at the Cathedral of Rouen, a cunning, silver-haired man with a persuasive voice and a calm demeanor. Bishop Adamar masquerades as a priest of the Creator, but is secretly the head of a guild of assassins and spies called the Grey Knives. He seeks to manipulate and control King Henri, opposed only by Queen Giselle and her loyalists. That's a guy who you can have a whole quest line on.
Yes.
There's an adventure there to do, but that could spawn a whole bunch of adventures.
Yeah. You've got, it's a campaign in itself, discovering really who the bad or good guy is in that. And you've done it with all of them. You've got the basic description, so you physically know what they look like, what they do, where they are, and the motivation. And then my favorite place is where the orcs come from, because it feels very much Nordic, Scandinavian twist. And so I thought this was a mistake, because you just throw this vampire lord. I was like, surely that should be in the section, but he's not. It's because he lives in the castle. That's in that area.
He is the main vampire in Ordog's Hall.
Yeah. It's utterly amazing. I did make a mistake though when I printed off only the front page of the character sheets, so we were all like, "Where the earth do you put all these feats? This is such." And I was like, I didn't have this problem when I was. I didn't do the back page. so they've written all the way around all the character sheets and everything else. And I got home, and I looked back, I flicked, and I was like, oh, this is the second page. So yeah, it was really good. I say it's not often that we sort of, throw a new game at players and they go, right, we can get into this because, we've been around for a long time. It takes a lot to get everyone excited.
Yeah.
Normally I'm the one, I'm quite giggly and get excited about stuff a lot more when I like some sort of books. And two of my friends, they're a bit more reserved about, showing exactly what they feel about it. And say everyone was just gushing's the wrong thing to say because that implies a really weird image. But it was so nice that I was like, I think this is amazing. Everyone I know that's read it, and then when you play it, it actually plays out amazing. Because I had a book a while back that I read, did the review, and then I took it to my friends to play, and universally we all disliked it.
Oh.
So I haven't put it out because it, for some reason, and I'll never say what it was because I'm not that sort of person. And if I'm putting something on my videos, I want it to be, if I have a problem or a little bit, I still want to sort of come back with a positive spin. But yeah, it read well and it didn't play well. And you can normally tell though, but this one really shocked us on just, it did some weird things. So what's the future then? I know you say, you're hoping to do supplements and stuff, but let's just share this. Am I right to share your guild? For
So
us?
Gilded is the service we use. I'm not.
You're right with me sharing that or not?
I mean, do you have the ability to? What are you trying to share?
I was just going to share this.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go too much into it, but yeah. So it's like a Discord, which we'll put a link in so people can just come and join this. Because more importantly, you can go here. Where is it? You've got your games bit.
It's
in the calendar. So in here, there are games that are being run, and you can join. And if you're unsure, and I don't know how you're unsure, if you've got into this far of the video with how much praise I've given it, and and Todd's given it as well, that you can still just go and just jump in and have the 3-hour sessions, aren't they? Most of them.
Yeah, typically.
And just go and give it a go as a one shot. So I'm assuming we're going to get pre-generated characters in there.
Oh no, you should bring yours.
Oh, I need to bring one. Do I haven't created one. So when I played this, I always test a game now when I'm doing a review. So I actually just used your pre-generated characters. No, that's I didn't know I got to generate one myself, and that's cool. That's my weekend sorted.
I mean, unless you're very indecisive, it should take you less than half an hour. Takes me about 10 minutes, probably less, to build a character. Most of our play testers who have gotten the chance to play the game a number of times can also build them pretty quickly now. But if you're slower, maybe half an hour. Unless like my friend Colin, and yeah, buddy, I'm calling you out, you literally want to read every option before making any decision at all.
Yeah, that's what I had when they were doing the characters on Saturday night, because they are a little bit power gamey in places, my players, and we all are given the choice, but it does lean very much towards that. But see, I don't know whether I want to be a dual mage type thing and really take advantage of the magic, or just go, do you know what, I quite like the idea of a bit of sword play, bit of armor, and some magic powers, and you can do that. I say with 21, that's got to be a good few thousand options, I'd imagine. I can't do the maths quickly.
21 just combining with itself, that's over 400.
Yes,
and then but you're also doing different species. You're using different features for your character. You've got thousands of options, tens of thousands of options.
Yeah. So you know where to buy it. You can go and buy it direct from the website. I think you do. There is Drive4RPG as well, isn't there, for the PDF? So physical copies is a little bit weird, isn't it? Well, not weird, but there are only a few countries that can get physical copies currently.
Yeah. So the soft cover is available in the United States. That's because of how we produced it. We are not doing a Kickstarter model, which is turning out to be best, given trade wars and such.
Got one that doesn't bend.
So the soft covers are available in the US only. Hard covers we're working on getting available internationally. They are currently available in Ireland, the UK, and Canada. We have a couple gentlemen in Australia who are up for gambling and seeing if we can get them a copy, but we'll see if that works out. And we currently have a guy in the Netherlands also helping test to see if we can get a good shipment there. We don't want to just open it up to every country in the world and then have all kinds of problems with like your local postal service or surprise taxes. So like Ireland specifically, they have their own shipment option that's separate from the others because you're going to get a tax.
Yes, you did, didn't
and
you? Yeah.
So we wanted to put it in the label, make it really obvious. Hey, you're going to have to pay additional money that we can't pay for you. Actually, we can't make it part of the order. You have to do it as the importer. Yeah.
So, and anywhere else in the rest of the world, PDF, and then you can always. Well, I assume things like Lulu must exist in other countries as well, because that's when we first started talking. I'd say I watched Blackwell Games, and I was trying to buy one off your website, and you were going, no. We don't allow people. You colonized us. You tried to colonize us. You can't buy our books. That's what you said.
No,
it's not what Todd said.
No. With that, when you do go to our website, if you are in one of the areas that we ship to, and you want to order a hardcover, make sure that you select your country first. That may not be intuitive, but if you don't, what will happen is as you start typing your address, it'll think you're trying to write a U.S. address. And will tell you that it won't ship to that address because you'll be writing a fake address because it thinks you're in the US. You have to tell it your actual country, and then it will take it. Yeah. We had a lady who had that problem actually. She started typing her address and then she stopped because she got that pop-up going, that's not a real address. Well, it's not, because it was her address in England, but listed as the United States. So yeah, it didn't exist.
Yeah, no. So what I know obviously you've got supplements, but what sort of further plans have you got for?
Oh, sure. We're working on 2 other games that use the same core system.
Good.
Yeah.
Is this the one that you've been teasing on X with the sort of space marine looking people?
Yeah.
I'll buy it. Can I have a copy? I want one now.
that would be great, man. I'd love to. So that one should wind up with 24 careers total. Uses the same like character building stuff, action economy, this kind of thing. Durable objects are treated differently because unlike say in a medieval setting where castle walls should be really hard to breach, in a world with high explosives and energy weapons, stuff's not quite as durable, relatively speaking. So that part changes, but otherwise it's the same kind of core core type of game. And this one's very military focused, where you are either a human marine or you are a human naval officer or naval personnel fighting in a multi-sided war against aliens. There are like 7 or 8 different alien factions that are trying to conquer humanity, and you are trying to not lose.
So similar vein then. So it's still mass combat, sort of relatively powerful people as well.
Yeah, and about half to 2/3 of the careers are focused on the character scale, where you're playing like a space marine type dude or a paladin, or where you're playing a demolitions expert or a medic or a marine officer or whatever it might be. And then the remainder of the careers are focused around commanding and controlling starships. And so we have starship combat as one of the main components of that game. And then we also have like some land vehicles and stuff too. So there's like armored personnel carriers and tanks and motorcycles and whatnot. And then obviously lots of firearms.
Pages and pages.
Yeah.
And how go on, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, how far down the development are you through with that?
We are in round 3 of rewriting. And that is probably going to be the last round of rewriting, other than after our editor gets a hold of it, unless we notice any problems with playtesting this rewrite. So basically, we've gone through 2 full rounds of playtesting development, and then gone, not good enough, let's try it again. This is the 3rd round, and I think this should be fine. Other than like a few individual abilities, that we'll have to see how they interact. But on the whole, we're really excited to get that out. And go ahead.
Is it range damage issues? Because the thing I always found harder when you convert from fantasy to sci-fi is the fact that because you've got a lot more range capability of damage, it can be a little bit harder to convert. Because it's like D20 modern, I always thought I was like, do you know what? I like 3.5 D20 modern. I don't like as much because guns, when it comes to hit points, it doesn't seem to work as well as swords pay off the hit points.
No, that's not the issue. One of the things that we did as part of a new innovation. Do I have a way to screen share on here? I don't think I do.
Yeah, you can. You just top right hand corner. You should just be able to share.
All right, let me try pulling up one of these. So,
oh, I like a sneak peek.
Yeah. So bear in mind this is playtest material, and so as a result, there will be like some highlighted stuff that isn't true, which is color coded for our playtesters to know what it means. But I'll give you an example if it lets me share. Yeah. So here is the basic human that we're working on. See if you can.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
Allow. And then maybe you can put it up for the others to see.
Yeah. It will show on the recording. Yeah.
It'll show on the recording. Okay, cool. Because I don't see it, but all right.
Okay.
Anyway, so you'll notice compared to the human in Horde Wars, there's one major difference. Instead of starting with a natural weapons, you have this ability called double tap for humans.
Okay. Yeah.
And this is because we didn't want to have special material weapons in the sci-fi game. We actually did want to include that kind of bonus damage option, but it doesn't make as much sense, right? Especially with energy weapons or projectile weapons. And so we wanted to include that. So here's basic human. Let me know what you think of that ability, first of all, that double tap ability. It's in blue.
Good. Okay. I like that. Yeah.
Now we have 4 other varieties of human. So if we go down here, this is the low gravity human. And look at his bonus damage type.
Okay, so it changes to when you got a circumstance bonus as opposed to non-max hit points.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And also the stats has changed as well, haven't they? They got +3 reflexes where the other one could
correct
6 as well.
And then he's got the trade school and low G homeworld as well.
Nice. And there's 4 of those, you said? Yep.
Yeah, there's 4 of those. And so the heavy worlder here, again, has a different damage ability and is fitness focused.
Cool.
And then the high G homeworld makes him really good at athletics and jumping around.
Cool, like it.
And then we got these 2, the Void Dweller human who has the Punisher ability and has telepathy.
Ooh, so if you're below hit points, you're just going to not heal yourself up to 1, aren't you? That's what I'd be doing.
Like, no, I'll stay wounded. It's fine.
Yeah, you healed me too much. Can someone just punch me?
Yeah, he wants to punish you for hurting him.
Yes. Yeah.
And then we've got the Wastelander human.
That have moved. Okay, that's cool. That's going to make people want to stand still, isn't it? Which is then going to more chance of them dying because they haven't moved anywhere. That's cool.
Yeah, and then the radiation resistant will let that dude live even on a world that's been irradiated from, for example, nuclear disaster.
Radiation. Does that mean mutations?
It could. Yeah. Well, I mean, in this case, that's basically what's happening. This is a natural selection. People who could survive in a radiated world are the ones who lived, and the ones who couldn't survive died.
Excellent. No, what I mean is, does that mean you've got random mutation tables in here?
Not yet. That may happen, although that's more likely to happen in the other game we're working on, which is the superhero game.
Do you want me to write some random tables for you for this? For mutations? I love mutation tables.
I think that would be pretty fun.
I
But
think if you're gonna have radiation damage, you've got to have random mutations. I'll do anything for a writing credit, me. So.
well, we'll see if you're up for that. I mean, we can talk about it after. Now, this is just to give you an idea. So, description here. I mean, that is literally, I got to write some flavor text. But have a look at this career, just to give you an idea. So, we got 24 of these for this game.
Okay.
That we're working on.
I'm with it. I initially read Preacher, so it took me a couple of things to read it back as Breacher. So
Breacher. Yeah, so this guy's job is to break in doors. And
no, I got that with the first. I was thinking, why is a preacher wearing heavy armor? And I was like, oh, Breacher. Okay, that's fine. So double athletics is cool. Each attack that would do damage to the first round is told by your armor instead. Again, we do like that absorbability. Additional die of damage. This seems to be ramping up the damage stuff, which is good.
Yeah, and notice the each attack thing. Now that's not like the Crusader's ability. The Crusader's ability absorbs in Horde Wars one attack per round of play.
Yes.
The Breacher's ability absorbs every attack the first round.
In the first round. Oh yes, yeah. You need to kill everything in the first round. Simple as that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that's his job. He's kicking in a door, clearing the room. That's what he's supposed to be doing. And so we've got.
Oh wow! You can throw him in, and then chuck a load of grenades in with him at the same time. Can't you?
He'll be fine.
Oh, you need a nuclear suitcase, something like that. Just open the door, send him in, and then whatever's left.
We're working on grenades, flamethrowers, rocket launchers. I think so. We have a grenadier who also is a kind of a sapper. They're good at digging trenches and stuff. We're thinking about. They had an ability to also call in orbital strikes from ships in orbit, and we're thinking about switching that instead. That ability to a pocket nuke, where basically they're doing the Starship Troopers thing.
Ooh.
I think that would possibly be even more fun.
Yeah, which is if you go into orbit, you got to nuke it from orbit. You can't nuke it from where you stand. It's the only way to be sure, isn't it? Nuking it from orbit.
I don't know. Nuking it from where you stand would mean that the character can use the ability more often because they're not relying on outside ship support.
Yeah.
So you could do it somewhere where your navy has actually lost the fight, or you could do it aboard an enemy ship.
Oh, so it is. Yeah, it's going to be good. It's good.
Yeah.
What about timeframes for this? Any sort of? Is it going to be kickstarted? Is that the intention, or you're hoping to skip that out now?
So we want to have this ready for production by the end of April next year. We've got an artist actively working on it. Actually, let me try to share one other thing. So if I open this and whenever you want to cooperate, computer, there we go. And this and this, and if all right, can I share that window? Yeah, so here is some of the art that our artist has been working on.
Nice.
And then
that's really
this one, there's a little correction to do over there, but this one's pretty cool.
Little correction. I didn't notice it. Looks good to me.
Oh yeah, no, I think this is fun. This is one of the human worlds.
He's jacked.
yes, he is.
Is that a body top he's got on, or are they going to be? I couldn't quite tell is that some sort of armor, like skin armor, on there, or is it just that is the color of the skin?
We actually have We have a whole cybernetic system in this game as well.
Okay, cool.
So there's so I think that is what he was going for, but this is a heavy worlder, and I believe he gave him the subdermal armor.
They're the athletic ones, aren't they?
Yeah,
heavy worlder that can jump further and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and then here's a vehicle that he's gotten ready as well.
Even the backgrounds and the sky really sort of add to the world, don't they? It's a really good artist. Really fits well.
I think he's doing a good job. So we've got a bunch. Those are the ones that are mostly ready. We got a bunch of pieces he's partway through as well. But anyway, so their art production speed is one component, and also our next round of playtesting, once we do all the edits, based on our last round of playtesting. And like I completely rewrote the ship combat rules, not because it's really substantially different, but because our old draft was a lot more Cliff Notes oriented, and I want to help. Well, not to be rude, I want to kind of idiot proof it.
Yeah, people like me that can't read properly.
Yeah. You gotta. Okay, if you didn't catch it, here's an example of how that's supposed to work.
Yeah.
So that if the rule wasn't clear to you, you get a second chance to catch it. Like, yeah. And I need that too sometimes. Sometimes I misread something or I don't catch it right the first time. And so I've been rewriting those and then working on rewriting the 12 more ship-oriented careers. But really 8 of those are more ship-oriented and 4 are kind of supplemental. They can kind of go, they do both things a bit. Yeah, I think it'll be a really fun game. And our goal, like I said, is to have it ready for production in April of next year, which will mean probably a month to 3 months lag time, depending on how quickly the printers are ready and able to get us good proof back and this kind of thing. But we're pretty excited about it. And yeah, it should be we estimate it should be a 300-page book, like Horde Wars Advanced. It'll be focused a little differently. It's not as focused on like finding treasure, right? It's much more focused on fighting aliens and like taking their technology for yourself.
It's that grabbing alien tech, random tables, and having limited firearms. There's always. I don't know how old you are, but did you play the first ever Halo when the first Xbox came out? That was such an amazing experience to then just get those alien weapons for the first time. Go, I've only got 18 shots. Now I've got to go and find another alien to go and get one of these weapons again. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So if that's going to be in it, then I already want it anyway because it's space age. Horde Wars. Your own unique world, or is it based on Earth in the future, or just?
Yeah, it's our own unique world, but we're trying to include the components you would need if you wanted to play in like a Warhammer style setting, or if you wanted to play in like a Star Wars setting, or like The Expanse, or a number of other kind of popular franchises. You will not be able to play Star Trek. Not because you couldn't kind of make the rules go that way, but we are our rule set for this is going to be very human centric. In part because of the setting. This is a bunch of different alien species trying to carve up human territory, like Europeans carving up Africa. That's a thing that happened, and this is kind of reflecting that, except that all the humans are on the receiving end.
Yeah.
Right, and trying to resist.
Starship Troopers.
Yeah,
technically. So
yeah. And so, and then we also have a bit of corporate stuff. So you could potentially use our rules to also play something like Dark Matter. I don't know if you're familiar with that franchise.
Heard of it, but never played it.
But we want to be able to support a number of different genres if you want them to, but they're all, it's built for our setting and just happens to have some nods to those sorts of things. Probably the most ridiculous, I'm not sold on the name, we have to think of another name.
Was that Dropship? That in the document, wasn't it?
Oh no, Dropship is good. No, I mean so one of the careers is basically like a space wizard, and this is partly because of Farscape and partly because of like I mean, that's what's happening in Star Wars, right? Those are that's basically magic powers. That's what's happening. And then going, okay, what do we call this? Because a lot of the kind of cooler names are very recognizable for a specific franchise.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And could cause legal problems, but also could really lock you mentally into thinking of only that version.
Yeah. Yeah, and Disney do like to sue people as well.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
I think they would probably lose against us, but that's just because we're not actually stealing their intellectual property.
well, that's it. You know, there's certain things because Games Workshop, they've lost on the one on Space Marine, didn't they? They
Well,
were
of course they
trying
should. They didn't think
to.
of the idea. I mean, the
No, no,
concept,
no.
yeah,
Yeah,
the concept's
yeah,
been around
yeah,
since like the 1920s or 1930s. And the
yeah.
guy who thought of that is, I'm going to phrase this not gently, super dead, which means under US law, that is open. Anyone can use that term. Games Workshop, I think, has been successful in the UK and possibly the European Union as well in trying to claim it owns that terminology. But it would be silly of them to risk that in a US court, given how our laws work.
Yeah. Yes.
In that, if they lost, that would like really screw over their ability to do other IP claims.
Yeah.
um,
So basically, what you're saying is you want my viewers to come up with a space wizard name in the description that's going to be more interesting than Jedi
yeah,
or Acolyte or those
right.
sort of titles. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
that one, I don't
or Space
know.
Wizard.
We might literally call it Space Wizard.
So,
but we're trying to figure out a name for that one because it's that's been kind of a sticking point. I think the abilities are really fun.
yeah.
Um,
Well, I guess because you know, do you want that astral aspect in the name, or does it not need anything like that? So you could just go, you know, something more earthy and more grounded without necessarily going in. But or just go to Google and just put in random space wizard names and see what Google comes up with.
right. No, we've got like a psyops guy who is who can do like some mental manipulation stuff or can in a game rules like cause a reroll, which is essentially representing his ability to see the future a little bit. We've got that, and then we've got like a tech knight who's using technology to get kind of hard light force field projection stuff.
Yeah.
But the space wizard type dude is much more fantastical, I would say, in his abilities. He's less grounded in reality and how to express that, and also how to explain like how does this guy get these abilities? What's it coming from? Because it's definitely not coming from the force. Again, legal issues. Also, the force, as defined by Disney anyway, is like super dumb.
Isn't it the thread now anyway? After that
yeah,
Acolyte
right?
TV series, the force
Thread,
is
I
gone. It's the
believe, or
thread.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, so in universe, how is he getting these abilities? And also, why doesn't everyone have them? Right. So in the case of the humans who are telepathic, the lore for that is really simple. They've been exposed to a toxin on the world that they're from that has caused this ability.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a physical cause creating this new capacity, with probably some downsides as well because it's a toxin. But yeah. So for this career, I that's like lore end. That's not how the thing plays. I think it should play fine. It's just thinking about how to explain it in universe and what would be the coolest and not get us sued.
Yeah. Give me a day, and I'll throw you several thousand really terrible ideas.
Okay. All right. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I mean, let me quick glance on Gilded here. We're scheduled to play Monday, right?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, bring some stuff then, man. Let me know what you think would be fun.
I'll see what I can find out. And see what I can work out. So you then hinted a second game, I think, with
yeah, we're working
mutations
on the superhero game as well.
Yeah.
So you asked about Kickstarter. So we don't we're not currently using Kickstarter. We might for the superhero one, but the reason that we're not using Kickstarter isn't because it can't be good. It's Kickstarter requires a certain style of marketing and sales that we actually think isn't good. I don't mean it can't be effective. I mean that like to build a business, I don't think it's a good way to go because you're basically constantly trying to drive fear of missing out and hype around this product that's coming out in the future. This means that companies often don't wind up supporting their existing products because they're constant Kickstarter-based companies are constantly focused on the next product, not what they've actually made. And then also it kind of by nature tends to be a flash in the pan type thing where, yeah, we made it for this Kickstarter, and now once it's sold out, it's gone. There's no more, it doesn't exist to buy on the market unless you buy it like used or secondhand.
Yeah.
We would prefer to continue selling products over the course of years, and that doesn't seem to be the way that Kickstarter is really designed to function. The reason that we might do that for the superhero game, though, is actually just production costs. So to give you an idea, Horde Wars cost about $7,500 to make basic, and probably about, including the basic costs, that $7,500 as part of this number, it probably cost about $15,000 or $20,000 to make advanced.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of this is artwork costs. Some of it has to do with like copyright registration stuff. And a good chunk has to do with print run costs. So for example, our first print run of soft covers for advanced cost us like $5,000 or $6,000, right? And so that's money you need to have up front to then be selling it.
Yes.
So when we looked at production costs, we estimate that the space game should cost us, because we've already got some artwork and done from when we were working on it previously, as well as new stuff. We estimate it'll cost somewhere between 12 and 15,000, probably 15, to produce dropship.
Yeah.
Whereas the superhero game, our estimate is closer to 30,000. So that we are both unable and unwilling to sink that much money into ourselves unless there's like a proven interest, which is why we're working on dropship first, because that one is a much more reasonable production cost, and income from our existing products can help pay for it.
Yeah.
Right. And in order to speed up production, Nate and I are choosing to invest more money ourselves in it so that we can get it done promptly. If we were just funding it off profit, it would take a bit longer, which we'd rather get it out sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's good. What other thing to think of? Licensing out your system to other game companies.
Oh, we're open to that. We even say that in advance.
Yeah, it's a bloody good system.
Thank you. The trick is they have to be willing to work with us, not because we wouldn't mind doing an open license at some point, but because we are a small company with limited reach. It's really important to us that when people find out about Horde Wars, that it not be through some third-party product that is actually bad.
So I just got this idea of someone running, and I'm not even going to say what I'm thinking because of the way my brain works, but some really horrific, controversial theme just launches on Kickstarter, and you're like, of all the things to pick, that's how people have now heard of us.
Yes.
I don't blame you.
And so that's why we actually would love to have third-party content. We are interested in doing that. We've had some people approach us. Some are working on projects. We'll see if they ever finish them.
That's the other thing, isn't it?
Yeah. But the on our end, we do want to protect our intellectual property, and we are also interested in having people make third-party content. And at our current scale, it seems like the best call, at least to us, is to require people to work with us and make individual agreements. But one of the kind of carrots we can offer is we own all of our artwork, which means we didn't just license the artwork for this product or for a set period of time. We own it entirely, which means if we wanted to, we could make merchandise with the artwork, or we can authorize people to use specific pieces of our artwork in their projects. And so if like you wanted to make a module, for Horde Wars, or like a campaign setting, or that kind of thing, we could authorize you to use certain pieces of our artwork in your project for no cost, as one of the benefits for working with us.
Well, definitely, and you know, it gives you that brand as well, though, doesn't it? You know,
Yeah.
there's definitely a hook there for both sides, which is good.
Yeah.
So, superhero game, any? I'm guessing that's further down the line then. So, getting dropship done, or are you trying to do it at the same
we've
time?
been doing active playtesting. In fact, if you look behind me, let me angle my camera up. You see those buildings on top of my shelf?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of those. Those are there because of playtesting for the superhero game. So that's been an active development. It's just when we looked at the cost to produce the final product, and we compared it to the cost to produce dropship. Dropship's half. So we're like, we should do that first.
What's the reason for the increased cost? Is it additional art or
additional art, as well as book size? So we would estimate that the superhero game should come in at about 450 pages, which means it would either be 2 books or 1 rather large book. And the bigger the book, the cost increases, not just directly proportionally. It's a bit more of an exponential cost at a certain point.
Weird, because my mind says it should go down, but I suppose it's a lot harder to glue together, to keep together, and that as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So and then shipping, because obviously that's, you know, added weight is going to cost.
Oh, exactly.
So
yeah, and so we looked at that and went, well, either way we bind it, this is going to cost us more, plus the additional artwork, because when we're adding, you know, compared to Horde Wars, an additional 150 pages, even if we did the exact same amount of artwork proportionally, which in Horde Wars is about 200 pieces, a little more, that would then be 300 pieces. Right.
Yeah.
That's not cheap. Artwork, when you're paying someone to do that, artwork alone could run us 30 grand. If we get a discount, we might be able to do that in an actual print run as well. Like it's, yeah.
Crazy, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it depends.
Well, I don't mean crazy like that. As in, you know, things cost what they cost. You know, that is the wonderful thing about our world is, you know, everything finds a price point, but until you actually do it yourself, you don't realize all the additional costs and things that people have got before they even bring a product to market.
Yeah.
You know, so are you working this full time, or is this part time and you've got full-time jobs as well, or?
So part-time. So my my leg was crushed a few years ago, which slowed down our production of Horde Wars a little bit, as I was unable to get out of bed for about 6 months.
Wow.
And as it is, I still don't walk well, though I can walk again, which is good. But that relates to the work thing, because I was doing more physically demanding work. I was doing security work in a high-rise more recently, and then some other places as well, but mostly guarding rich people from each other.
And they need it. They do need it.
Yeah, they do.
So
they do. There are many things I caught one or multiple of them doing that they would not want in public. Just anyway. So I used to do that, but then when my leg got crushed, I was not able to do that because, among other things, I was typically going up 32 flights of stairs, and I now can barely do 1 or 2. So I can't physically move around in that way that I used to. Same for walking. Like I used to walk 4 or 5 miles a day just for work, sometimes less if it was busy, but now I think I would struggle to walk 1 mile. So it's just not practical. So I switched to doing part-time office administration, and so that's what I'm doing now at my local church. And then I'm also working on game development. But yeah, no, my income is much lower than it used to be, personally.
That sucks, man. Like, you know, it's you know, having to then, and I don't know what happened, and I don't, you know, you don't need to share the story.
That's pretty straightforward. Scaffolding collapsed on top of me.
Wow. So isn't there? Don't you get sort of like legal ramifications and stuff? Because I know your country's full of litigation for things.
Well, for one, that wouldn't be morally right for me to want to do, because
okay.
It would be rather silly, because I would basically be suing myself, as I'm a member of the church where that happened.
Okay.
Like, what?
I think I'd sue myself for money.
so the church like helped pay for medical bills, and the elders and the deacons and their wives came and physically helped me for months when I couldn't get out of bed, including gross things like changing out waste bins, like, because I couldn't get out of bed. I had to go to the bathroom in alternative ways, but helping me get food and water, and the church and its insurance did help cover medical bills, as well as my existing insurance did as well. And I basically had the choice, when I was partly recovered, to either be on disability for the rest of my life, as I am partially disabled now, or to work part-time, because physically I can't work full-time anymore, not just like for security work, but basically if I stay upright like I am now, sitting and talking with you, for 8 hours a day, after a day or two of doing that, I'm going to have a day where I can't be upright at all because I'm in crippling pain.
Oh, wow.
Like, and I'll have to lay down for most of that day. And so that I decided that based on what the Bible teaches, if I can work, I should. And I can. I just can't work as much as I used to. So I went back to work, like I said, doing office administration.
Yeah, it's also good for your mind. There's a lot to be said for working and keeping your sort of mind distracted from itself. Hence the reason I listen to headphones quite a lot, because I don't like my thoughts when I'm walking dogs. And I don't mean that my thoughts about it. I don't mean like that, but I can't spend too long in my head by myself. It's not a happy place all the time, if you know what I mean. So music's a good remedy for stuff. Or YouTube, I'd say, listen to the people.
Yeah, but music can be good to help concentrate when you're working on a project too.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. So we've got a lot of work cut out. Playtesting. Is playtesting quite closed for either of these projects? Not that I'm throwing myself out as volunteers, but sometimes you get people that watch, go, I'd like to be involved in that. Can they join Gilded?
So basically, we've done playtesting on our Gilded server, and we'll probably have another round when the current rewrites are done. We've also got in-person playtesting. So if you wanted to do that, if you pick up a copy of Horde Wars for people who are watching, if you do that through our website, you should get a Gilded invite automatically. You have to choose to accept it and go through the registration process through Roblox or whatever. Or if you buy through DriveThruRPG, which we sell PDFs through, you can, as well, you can direct message me your order number and get an invite that way. People on our Gilded server, we basically set them up just like Horde Wars events. We just put a different label in front to let you know what it's for. So we did a full round of playtesting previously, and right now I paused that until we get the rewrites done based on what we learned in playtesting. One of the things we learned is not to give tanks shields. Their armor is enough.
I broke Vampire the Masquerade years ago. I was playing a gangrel. So you already got high levels of fortitude. And then I created my own ability to take half damage. And the games master allowed it. So not only could I heal everything, I was then taking half damage before this. And I just walked through everything. And it just totally broke the game. And my mate that was running it said, and he was like, "Look, we're either gonna have to stop the adventure, or your player needs to go, because it's just pointless. Because anything that could even touch me and cause a little bit of damage instantly killed everything else." And it's so tanks with shields sounds good in principle. But
but playtesting showed that wasn't ideal. Also, you know, we were originally going to do a smaller group of careers. Our original plan was to do dropship in 2 separate books.
Yeah.
One focused on the Army end, one focused on the Space Navy end. However, we made the decision to go ahead with the full project in a single volume. I think that's probably going to be better. It'll be, you know, like Horde Wars. It'll be a single volume you can for the whole game.
Yeah.
But it is more expensive. Like if we had done it in split books, the first book would have cost us maybe $7,500 to produce instead of probably 12 to 15,000. And that's, yeah, there's trade-offs to that. I think for the customer side, it's probably good. On our end, it's a gamble. We have to sell enough of that to recoup expenses,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's you know, that's the bottom line, isn't it? You know, everyone's got bills to pay, and the projects then help pay for the new ones. You know,
Right.
just getting the next things going. So actually, we've gone a little bit longer than I was expecting, which
Yeah.
I don't mean that in a horrible way. I'm just kind of think we probably should bring this to an end, and then get you back again sometime
Sure.
soon, so we can carry on with this. But yeah, if so, to get Todd, we'll put your, I think it was in your, is it X? His Twitter isn't on there as well. On there, we'll links to the website. So Horde Wars Advanced. Go and buy it. So watch my review. There's a variety of other reviews on there as well. So, you know, if you're watching my channel, you know that I love Horde Wars Advanced. I've done several videos and conversations in my weeklies about it. I don't even know how high this is going to go in my top 10. I know it's definitely in my top 10 games of the year. I think there's a good chance this is going to jump into my top 10 of all time by the time I do him for next year. It's just utterly amazing.
I hope so. I'm glad to hear it. And like I said, our business model is basically, if you like one of our games, you're probably going to like the other ones we're working on.
Yeah. I'm glad you're not deviating from the system as well, because some companies, they'll find this winning formula, and I'm going to remain utterly nameless because I don't like that sort of. And then they'll go, "Well, we'll brought out this new game," and go, "Well, it's not going to use that system." You're like, "Why? I like that system.
Yeah.
Use that system." You know, that's what you're known for. So stick with it. And obviously, you know, if you're watching this and you want to write modules for it, contact Todd, and just don't write any of the things that I thought of in my head about it, because he won't let you do it. But no, thank you for coming on, Todd. It's been absolutely amazing having you on here.
Thanks for having me.
And I say we'll get back. Well, we'll carry on talking over at X and variety of other stuff. Todd is on my Discord as well, so you can, if you don't, because the weird thing about Guilded, I'll just say this, is when I got my invite, and Todd did touch on it, is the fact that you do get an invite to join Roblox, which was weird because I had to join it as my daughter, and it took me about a week to work out to change the photo and the name.
Yeah. And so basically, Roblox owns the Guilded service. Guilded is like Discord. And the reason that I'm using it is, well, they're both evil companies. Right? It's pick your poison. Discord has a tendency to do a history of doing blanket bans for the crimes of one person. Like if, for example, you have a server on Discord and someone comes on there and says a bunch of things that are violations of the terms of service that are egregious, you run the risk of the entire server getting banned.
Wow. Didn't know that. I maybe need to put some rules on my Discord.
Yeah, like this has happened more than once, including to friends of mine. And so, I mean, that's happened to the artists who did the cover, actually.
Yeah.
To a Discord server he had. So they're both going to steal your information, right? They're both going to be, you know, monitoring you to some degree. So of the evil corporation stuff, I'd rather have a bit more free speech, which is what Guilded offers.
Yeah.
And frankly, the kind of child exploitation they're doing, I don't care about. The Roblox Corporation is occasionally allowing children to work for free.
Yeah.
At making digital images.
Yeah.
That's not working in a mine. I don't care. Like if the parents are so irresponsible that they're not watching their own kids and they're letting their children work for free for a stranger on the internet, the problem isn't really the company. It's you, parent.
Yeah, my kids have actually grown out of Roblox, which is why I didn't mind changing the account. Because if she was still on it, I would be like, well, yeah, but they're kids, you know, they're obsessed on something for 6 months and then it's dead.
Right.
So
right.
So yeah.
But that's, you know, that's so both. I don't like either company particularly, but as far as picking your poison, I prefer Gilded and the Roblox Corporation for the reasons I mentioned. Yeah. I don't object to using Discord. It's just, I think, a gamble if you get the wrong person invited who does something egregious enough.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to stop letting people in now. I'm saying that in the time I've had my Discord, I've only ever had one, and it almost kicked off around about the tariffs. And one person wrote something, someone wrote something else, and then someone took it personally. And then by the time I got to it, they'd both realised they were being dicks, and they'd both apologised to each other. So it was quite nice that they'd realised that this wasn't the time and place. And I think one person actually stepped in before I saw it and just went, look, you know, and it's all gone away, which is nice. Unlike the tariffs. Sorry, we got 90 days, depending on how long we got it. But no,
yeah, tariff thing is probably fine. There have been protection tariffs off and on for like at least 500 years.
I was going to say, yeah, it's
fine.
The press is writing about it like it's a new thing, and they've existed for a long time. But let's not get into tariffs, because that's so hopefully it'll just go back down a little bit. So that would be nice.
If you want to, on another video, we could discuss it as it relates to role playing games, because it is relevant in our day.
Yes. Yeah, I just need to do a bit more research on it, so I don't look like more of a fool than I do on a daily basis on my channel.
Oh no.
No, thank you for being here, Todd. Thanks for all your time. Said go and buy Horde Wars Advanced. Don't get if you want to get basic, get basic. Then you're going to buy Advanced a few weeks later. So actually, give Todd 2 sales. Go and buy both. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to Todd's X, and obviously, you know, get onto his shop and stuff. So again, thank you for being here. And everyone else, thanks for watching.
Have a good day.